Breaking news. We are getting reports that American semiconductor giant NVIDIA has been hit by a cyber attack. The Telegraph, this is a British paper, is reporting that the attack may have parts of NVIDIA's business offline for more than 48 hours as Vladimir Putin throws down the digital gauntlet, threatening cyber attacks against the U.S. Take a look at cybersecurity stocks. The threats are not just military. NortonLifeLock, a leader in consumer security, has been popping. Zscaler, however, is getting crushed. It is down significantly. The cloud security provider beat earnings estimates, but disappointed on guidance. As the Department of Homeland Security prepares for Russia's cyber wrath, let's bring in former Director of Intelligence for Mandiant, Karim Hijazi, now CEO of Prevailion. Karim, what are the odds at this hour that Putin or his hackers will launch a cyber strike against the U.S. for supporting Ukraine and sanctioning Russia? And when do you expect it to hit? If not already, it's hit maybe with NVIDIA. We don't know yet.
Yes, thanks for having me, Liz. Absolutely. I think that the potential is extremely high right now, as it's been for a few weeks now. In terms of the actual direct implications of Russia attacking the U.S. and the allies. I think up to this point, the concern has been among the community that there was going to be some sort of wormable attack. And what I mean by that was that there was a fear that if they deployed something into the Ukraine, similar to what we saw with NotPetya a few years ago, where something that was intended to attack Ukraine specifically it wasn't recognizing political or geopolitical borders, and it spread out to the rest of the world. And that's what we've been worried about ever since this all started. Now, with the sanctions, I think what that's going to do, and I'm not suggesting the sanctions are a bad thing to do. What I'm saying is that I think that's now made us a direct adversary in the situation where there may be direct attack. And it may be coming from Russia, nation-state actors, and loyalists, hacker groups that are loyal to Russia, very similar to what we're seeing where there's an underground community trying to attack Russia on behalf of Ukraine. So it's this absolute mess, quite frankly.
What can the United States do? We keep hearing that the cyber team here in the U.S. is top-notch, but how far can they go? Can they stop Russian trains? Can they turn off the lights in Russia?
So the answer to that is yes. The challenge, of course, is at what point do we take that next step and that action? Because then, by definition, we've now engaged in a full-scale tit-for-tat war on a cyber front, really kind of just inches away from a kinetic follow-up or follow-on, right? If not after that, right? We're not quite sure what's going to happen. The unfortunate part here, Liz, is that we've been talking about this for a long time. I don't know that we're ahead of the curve on this problem. And I'm not trying to sound disparaging or fatalistic. It's just that this is not a vulnerability issue with the U.S. This idea that we can go patch all of our servers and be fine is unfortunately a fallacy. The issue is that there's already embedded malware within these organizations that are actually waiting to be activated by these threat actors. And so my fear and much of the community's fear now is at what point are they going to turn on what is already established in this country within critical infrastructure, within the private sector that have conduits and vectors into these places that we are most worried about. So it's less about kind of guarding the fortress and at the gates. It's now about what Trojan horses on the inside that we need to get rid of.
And the Trojan horses can find their way because business perimeters have expanded, and we do have this vulnerability to digital invasions. Karim, thank you very much. Karim Hijazi.
My pleasure.